Hello everyone, I am the Connoisseur, and welcome to my review on the third episode of the 7th season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, also known as A Flurry of Emotions. This episode was exactly how I thought it would plan out. It was adorable, and then it was crazy adorable, and then it was adorable craziness, and then it was just like really, really cute. Words can't describe. I can't believe that I'm gushing this much, but it's true. Flurry Hart's adorable, okay? Facial expressions, just the way that they act and the way that Twilight and Flurry Hart are so close together and how much Twilight loves her is just unbelievably sweet. And it shows the bond that, not even just siblings, but family can have. And obviously it's a kid's show, so they're not going to show such depression or sadness or fights that happen, but they even tackle this in the very end of the episode, which I'll go on to later. But this episode was basically, antics. It was also sweetness, and it was also craziness. It wasn't nearly as heavy in terms of a plot or in terms of character development. The only characters that really developed in this episode was really Twilight and Flurry Hart as a pair, and Shining Armor and Cadence as a pair, because it showed how much they cared for their child at the end of the episode. And it showed actually how much Flurry Hart has learned as an actual, baby, because she can communicate, she can mouth out some sounds and words, or at least, she can roar like a bear, and she's, even learning to walk or at least stand up. So we see that she's really smart for her age, just like Twilight was when she was in full. So that shows, again, probably why Twilight loves her so much. She sees a lot of herself in Flurry. Now, I think that this episode had maybe too much craziness. As in, we had the same thing happen 3 times. We had it with the toy store, we had it with Pinkie Pie, and we had it with Cheerilee, in which Flurry Hart would basically lose her patience because Twilight was trying to get rid of these chores and do these errands. And that caused Flurry Hart to basically grow impatient and tired and use her magic to entertain herself. And, again, people are probably going to say, well, Flurry Hart was in the wrong, she shouldn't have done that, and Twilight had every right to yell at Flurry Hart. And what Twilight said at the end pretty much sums it up very well. It was Twilight's fault for taking on the responsibility when she already had a tight schedule. And it was also Cadence and Shining Armor's fault for not giving Twilight a heads up, which they established at the end of the episode. Again, they established it very directly, and it wasn't subtle. They flat out told us the moral of the story, which, personally, I don't like so much. I like it when it's hidden, but at the same time obvious. I don't like it when they flat out mouth out the sound and say what the moral is. But they still had several lessons, which made this episode pretty good. Now, of course, personally, I like the premiere better, again, because of its plot heaviness and more variety in terms of character development. But this episode was, in a way, a necessity, because we needed more development with Flurry Hart. And this wasn't really an episode that was just made to establish that Flurry Hart still exists, and, that the toys still exist. I know that I joke around about the toys, and I'll admit, it's very adorable to the point where, people might want to buy merchandise of Flurry Hart, but it's never going to equate to this episode. I think that this really was an episode for Twilight, and I think that this was a great way to put Flurry Hart in the mix. I hope that we even have an episode with Flurry Hart and the other members of the main 7. I think that would be very nice to see. I also think that at the end of the episode, when we see that Cadence and Shining Armor really do miss Flurry Hart, and they saw Flurry Hart in every piece of art that they saw, that shows a great parental bond. It shows that they really, really do love her, like I said. If there was one thing that I would say that the episode could have changed, it would probably be the way in which Twilight and Spike actually went about things. Because everybody, and if you don't, then you will now, should have realized that Twilight's an alicorn that has fought T-Rex and Chrysalis and Nightmare Moon and a slew of characters that have involved magic. And she's powerful, okay? She can teleport. She can teleport her and others. So, running from place to place instead of levitating or teleporting, yes, is an obvious flaw. And obviously they probably realized this, but also realized that, well, if we make Twilight use her teleportation, then the episode would be like 15 minutes long or something, and we need to extend the running time. That's why we had scenes in which Twilight was running along with Flurry, Hart, and Spike to the next place. It probably was just to extend the episode, which is a huge thing. Another problem is that if they did implement her teleporting everybody from place to place to get from place to place quickly, it would have decreased the episode, and they might have had to put more repetitive segments of Flurry, Hart using her magic. So it's like a double-edged sword. You know, you can't really have a win-win situation in this case. That's something that I'd love for you to actually share. What do you think could have happened differently, and what did you think of, you know, the ADORABETES that you probably got? I personally think that this was a good episode. I think that it's not the best, of course. It's adorable and might put a smile on your face if you're ever feeling down, but it had some flaws, but it had a lot of great character development and morals. So, with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this review. I am the Connoisseur, and I thank you for your time.